welcome to Star Citizen and the best features of 3.22. The 3.22 has reached the live servers and not only has big new features and several vehicles in the luggage, but also some small interesting improvements. First of all, a comprehensive overhaul of the salvaging mechanics. So far, we had the opportunity to remove the hull with the Drake Vulture or an Aegis Reclaimer, so scraping the hull piece by piece with our salvaging lasers. But this mechanics has been expanded by two additional, at first preliminary variants. So, on the one hand, we can completely dismantle the ship and break it up into individual parts, and subsequently suck in these individual parts as a whole. But as mentioned, this is at first a preliminary version of this mechanics. Because it is still planned that we can first separate parts and areas of ships and later mechanically grind them. And CIG mentioned they will continue to work on this. So the current version is a first variant. Nevertheless, an enormous expansion of the salvaging gameplay. In addition, we have the option of assigning different sizes of containers in the export stations, such as up to 60 SCU for the Aegis Reclaimer. And the arm of the Reclaimer also has been implemented into the game. But not yet with a mechanical variant, but as I said, with a kind of demolition beam. And here, multi-crew gameplay does not come too short. Because, thanks to the tractor beam modules in the salvaging laser area, we can pull larger objects directly in front of our claw and remove them piece by piece. But an important note. It can be assumed that the amount of yield and the speed will still be adjusted, which is, as I said, a first version of this technique. Because at present, we can also generate really large amounts of alpha UEC with the Drake Vulture in a short time through the new salvaging technique. So, use the opportunity to make some more UEC. A guide to this follows, of course. But there were also adjustments in the visual area, which we could already see in the framework of the CitizenCon. Namely, countless character adjustment options. So we got a lot of new hairstyles via the character editor. And these are not only static, but also have a physicalization. And of course, that makes long hairstyles much more interesting, because our hair can now physically change back and forth. And of course, we can still adjust our character accordingly before each game start, so you have the option to really try everything out. And beauty is of course as always in the eye of the beholder. These new adjustment options for your character of course have no effect on the gameplay, but are pure optics. Significant effects on the gameplay have the new purchasable and portable cargo containers in different sizes. You can buy these from 1 to 60 SCU and carry them on your ship accordingly. And also, by means of a multi-tool or dedicated tractor tool, you can move these containers, load and unload them, or anchor them to your cargo grid. You can buy them at almost every cargo station and other shops in the verse. And we can actually recommend these containers to any player who wants to collect one or the other loot, because you have almost unlimited space here. Also purchasable are some new ships, which we can now also purchase in-game. So with Alpha UEC. So we get the Mirai Fury MX and the Mirai Fury at New Deal in Lorville. So in the Hurston area. But we do not find the racing version here, but have to go to Area 18. Also new in the in-game shop is the Miscall C, the currently largest mass freighter in the game, but also not quite cheap in terms of price. At Astra Armada on Area 18, we get the Mirai Fury and the Fury LX variant. And the LX is the racing version of the Fury series. But of course, the in-game prices can change again for all ships. And also purchasable in the game, in the Crusader showroom on Horizon, we find the Crusader A1 Spirit, so the cheapest current bomber in the game. But there were also minor changes to different weapons. So the LH-86 pistol, which is now fully automatic, or a downgrade of the FS9 light machine gun, which only has 75 shots instead of 150. But there were some adjustments to different weapons too. So keep an eye on your weapon. Also fresh with the 3.22 in the game are the various new outposts and settlements, which not only offers missions, but also a lot of space for PvP action or just for exploration. Especially in the Hurston area, there are some new of these new settlements, which we partly already knew from the Pyro playtest. But these settlements offer more than just pure mission locations or a new look. Because here we find, in addition to various loot boxes, also some new armaments and clothing items. Because in the future we do not necessarily have to wear an undersuit, for example to carry weapons with us. There are various new armaments and clothing types, which include that and offer holsters of weapons. In addition, there are some new face masks, which you can also wear instead of a spacesuit or a space helmet. But these, of course, do not offer an atmosphere and a breathable environment in the weightless nest in space. The look of the new equipment and clothing is definitely awesome. Various equipment and various armaments, which offer a corresponding look, we have already seen in the Pyro playtest for the various factions there. Therefore, it was only a matter of time until the factions in Stanton also receive corresponding equipment items. And you can loot these new clothing pieces and equipment items from almost all opponents who are in the new settlements around the Hurston or Microtech area. But here's another note. Not every headgear has the ability to work without oxygen. But of course, there were also some new ships and vehicles with the 3.22, namely the Outposts Santok.yai, the complete X1 series and the Drake Cutter Rambler. With the Outposts Santok.yai, Outposts now has a second ship in the race, namely this medium fighter next to the Cartual. And that this is also a ship from Outposts you can see directly at first glance, even if the color scheme comes in green instead of the red in the standard. The technical similarity to the Cartual is striking. So here again we have 4 individual suspended main engines which offer enormous agility and speed values in various directions. And this is also one of the main advantages of the Santok.yai. But also analogous to the Cartual is the enormously large silhouette and hit area of this fighter. The Cartual relies on 2 usable size 4 hardpoints, whereby the Santok.yai comes with 4 size 3 gimbals. And these gimbals are not interchangeable, so we definitely have to cope with 4 size 3 gimbals. This gives the Santok.yai a firepower that is settled in the middle field, like other medium fighters, such as the Saber. But there is a calculation error for the release, the new Side 3 laser repeaters that comes with the Santok.yai. This error is already known, but will probably not be changed in the 3.22. In principle, the damage of the Side 3 laser repeaters of the Santok.yai should of course be in the area of all other available Side 3 laser repeaters in the game. But this adaptation comes earliest with the 3.22 X patch. Also analogous to the Outposts Cartual is the fragile and quite unstable landing gear. This usually does not really help, especially on uneven ground. But of course, we will do an extensive test for the Santok.yai. The first flight hours, however, promise an expansion of the Cartual. So a very good turnability and maneuverability, but a very large hit area. Also with the Santok.yai, a definite plus is the Xi'an technology and the optics used. Here we have a clear extension to the Cartual, which has been on the buckle for several years. The control elements and animations are definitely state-of-the-art. So we have, similar to the Gataxuilan, different Xi'an control elements, which of course are displayed to us translated accordingly. And at the start we have different paints directly available in the package. These can be purchased individually or as package and offer an outstanding look. The Santok.yai, however, is of course not a bargain as an alien fighter, and with just under $240 it has once again made a price jump at the release. Therefore, It remains to be seen how the Santok.yai will perform, especially after the adaptation of the Side 3 laser repeaters. Because at the moment it is difficult to get the PvE firepower via the gold ticket F8C Lightning, but of course this is a heavy fighter. But the price difference to the Santok.yai is not too great. But let's move on to another new appearance on the 322, the Origin X1 series. Here we get all three variants with the 322, the standard X1, the X1 Force, as well as the X1 Velocity as the racing version. The standard X1 for just under $40 offers a size 1 laser cannon and a white basic optics. But the chassis is identical for all three variants. Only the Velocity does not have a weapon. The most interesting is the X1 Force, which is the only one with a size 0 shield. The other versions come without a shield. And compared to the X1 standard version, the Force replaces the laser cannon with a laser repeater. The typical Origin feeling and high quality also stand out in the current smallest vehicle from Origin. And finally, the Origin 400i got the corresponding vehicle for its bike bay. And since the question keeps coming up, CIG had renewed that 400i owners don't get an Origin X1 with them to their ship, compared to other ships and vehicles where usually a vehicle or a snub is included. Here is only the hope that 400i owners may in the future still get an X1 with their ship. With the implementation of the 322, the X1 series drives or hovers more than well over the surface. The higher you use the hover technique, the lower the speed, but then really large rocks and areas can be flown over without risking damage. It is to be expected that the different speed values, especially on the ground, of the individual variants will still be compared. Because the X1, Velocity or Force currently have the same speed values. In terms of price, the X1 starts at $40, followed by the Velocity at $45 and the Force at $50. But these prices were adjusted shortly after publication, so you should check, maybe existing CCUs. But there was another ship that came into the verse with the 322, the new variant of the Drake Cutter series. This is an exploration variant of the Cutter, which comes with an additional fuel tank and an adapted interior, namely the Drake Cutter Rambler. And this is oriented at the price of the Cutter Scout and is also available for $50. This, an upgrade from a Scout to the Rambler, is not possible. The Rambler has a somewhat limited cargo space for 2 SCUs on the cargo grid, but offers a little more space in the interior. And thanks to the extended fuel tank, it can be assumed that the range of the Rambler is significantly higher than that of the Scout or the normal Cutter. Currently, however, the fuel values of the three variants are the same. Here, we are also waiting for a corresponding adjustment. The Rambler, therefore, deserves a recommendation, especially in the area of entry ships, which, due to its increased range, offers everything you need for a starter spaceship. The Alpha 322 offers a complete package and is, above all, well playable and quite stable, even before the holidays. However, the tests currently taking place on the Tech Preview channel are much more exciting. Because here we have already an activated replication layer, so the pre-stage for server meshing. And with that, the year 2023 for Star Citizen is coming to an end very well, as we have received some new features, announcements and a very positive outlook for the year 2024. And we are already looking forward to the year 2024, as we really have some of the biggest highlights to expect here. We wish you and your loved ones a Merry Christmas or Luminalia, and of course we see you regularly in the Twitch live streams, in Discord or here on YouTube. And at this point, we want to thank you. Without you, that wouldn't be possible at all, and we are very happy to start with you together in the new year in the verse. I say goodbye until next time. See you soon, and of course, see you in the verse. Thanks for watching.